Hello and welcome to the Path to LCS stream as it is week 2 of the North American Challengers League. I'm Cubby, and joining me today is going to be Mazel in a second, but also our special guest on the broadcast, the mid lane coach for Golden Guardians. It is Choose. Choose, how you doing?
I'm good. Looking forward to seeing some quality League of Legends.
I am really hoping that we see some quality League of Legends as well, and thank you so much in advance for joining us. Really excited to have your expertise with us on the broadcast today as we take advantage of that flex role. But before we hop into the broadcast, I gotta say, I got a unique experience coming up here. I'm gonna throw to my own segment. We have an NA talent update for you coming right on up. Oh, okay. Hold on. That's going to be in a quick sec. Before that, Choose. Good games today. I got to say, we are starting off with Cloud9 Challengers versus Dignitas Challengers. Definitely something that we are looking forward to. We got a couple good mid laners at M&S and Insanity. Anything else you're hoping to see today?
I know a lot of these guys personally. I played with them in solo queue, so it'll be fun to break them down and give them my perspective.
Yeah, I for sure am really looking forward to that. But before we get too long, I believe that we have that NA talent update ready for you. So enjoy. Hello and welcome back to another year of the NA talent update. Honestly, I don't know how this got approved again.
Please, I'm begging of you.
But I sure as hell am excited to be back and bringing you some more NACL action in this revamped semi-pro system we have for 2023. With that said, I'm going to get started by throwing it to a couple of our friendly Canadians from above.
Thanks, Cubby. We're sorry to bring this up, but we had to say something. This is the North American Challengers League, and we feel like our players from the Great White North aren't getting the respect they deserve.
So we're just going to take a minute to talk about some of the great Canadian talent that we've got up here.
And first up, we got Spyrax here in the mid lane, and look at this boy go. Ooh, sorry, Doxa. At least he had the decency to go and die with him, though.
And now our next player, Tomio. If the Lees were to pick him up, well, they might just have a shot come playoffs time. Watch him go. First kill, bam, but then, oh, he's going to go back for seconds, eh?
You love to see it. And sorry to juke you on this next play. We know Moose Hater's American, but he put the moose in Moose Hater. Up here in Canada, we know how dangerous Moose can be, but it seems like y'all didn't get the memo down there.
For future reference, when you see an angry moose approach you, back away slowly, do not engage, and if they charge, run away, or else something like this is gonna happen. And now, for our last clip, Diamond does a good job here, protecting his team as best as he can, but beat down, look at this.
Yeah, Diamond, that's not very nice. Supports don't need gold, but I'm sure he apologized in the end, and he still played well.
Well, as if the super heavyweight SmackDowns weren't enough wrestling references, we've got Kangas and Deserex coming right at you with the Slam of the Week.
This time on Slam of the Week, Team Liquid had an inconsistent day 1 of Challengers League, but they turned it around in day 2 with their Slam against Golden Guardians. With the powerhouse performance, Bradley slammed the top lane versus Concept, with combined KDA of 10-1-9 across both games and a pentakill to end the series. This was an easy decision for our Slam of the Week.
Well, he might be an LCS big shot now, but Rafa still has some time to help us out with the Rawpog Moment of the Week, which is brought to you by Serenok and CLG Faith's Backdoor.
Line, but you can tell that CLG Faith are ready for it.
Here comes the TP.
Serenok's going, but that's going to be too late for anyone to stop them. They got the kill in the plot. CLG, they've got to fight. They got to survive as the repel comes in.
Here we go.
But Serenok,
that's game.
He's looking for it.
We got canceled.
No, Lunacia's here. They canceled the back. And
That's
one
it.
more auto. He needs it. Come on. There it is.
Woo! Poggers.
Big shout out to everyone who opted out for this week's NA Talent Update. It's good to be back. We'll see you next week, and may your week be filled with positive gaming experiences.
Well, I have made it back. My keyboard has stopped giving my computer a bunch of random commands, and I've been able to make it to the broadcast, so I'm happy to be here with you guys. Excited to do that, and also nice talent update to start off the year, by the way, Cubby. I kind of appreciate the Also seeing the Aubrey Plaza like actual North American update thing for SNL the other night was pretty funny.
Oh wow, they're yoinking the ideas that I yoinked from them.
Right,
I can't believe it.
But we do have continuation of content here, and as you got to throw to your own content, so do I. So yeehaw, y'all! Let's get on the range.
Welcome to another year of On the Range. Now, we've been busy this offseason acquiring some new territory. We got some new, some old, some rough and rowdy. Let's go and check them out, shall we? Now, one of the new bloods we got is Masu. He's in a bit of a migratory pattern while he flies to LA, but that ain't gonna stop him. No way.
The wild turtle getting lower and lower. Is it enough? No!
Oh, no.
And that was on 120 ping. Now, another youngin' we have on the range is APA. And in instances like these, it's important to plan ahead. Luckily for Appa, he always does. Yep.
Concept following up, APA buying the space. Concept taking a lot of damage right now. Throws out the all-in. First to fall.
Now that we've gotten some of our youngins nice and rassled, let's go see how our more mature members are doing. Caution now, we're going to be walking into the top lane kingdom.
Now next up, we got good old Bradley. He's the last remaining member of his prize pack. But don't let his early antics fool you now, or he'll serve you up some of that humble pie.
Young, even with Prismal on top of him, I think Bradley's got it. That's another one. He's got Prismal too. Pentakill to Bradley.
Now as we come around the bend here, make sure you got your flex protection on, or Hanser will get you.
Whoa, watch out now. Whoa, Nelly. Is that a real weapon? Arms are flying everywhere.
Now this next part of the range is a little bit scarier. We're gonna go check in on our crocodilian friend from down under, Surdy. He likes to hang out with the creepy crawlies of the world, but you know, if he gets you in his sights, boy, he'll get you. Woo! It looks like I got my work cut out for me wrestling all these new critters this year. But as always, thanks for tuning in to an episode of On the Range, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Self, for the content. But another episode of On the Range. Love to be able to bring that back and show off some of the newer faces we have going on. Go follow at Pat the LCS if you want to watch any of this content. It will be posted on there, so you get to do the NA talent update as well as the On the Range. Now, not to put you on the spot, Choose, which one's your favorite? Tell me right now.
Which one's my favorite?
No bias here. I mean, you don't have both of the people that put together the content pieces here. So, what you got?
I won't lie. The edits in the On the Range went hard. So.
Let's go!
Yeah, no, that's what happens when, I got to edit my own stuff. Cubby Productions is still work in progress here. We're an evolving business.
We appreciate your effort, Cubby. But let's go ahead and toss it to the standings here. Let's go ahead and bring up what we've had so far, as we have 3 undefeated teams coming into the second week. Cloud9 Challengers, CLG Challengers, and Wildcard there. Choose any thoughts coming off these standings?
Oh, I don't like seeing my boys in 9th place. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, at least there's 16 teams, middle of the pack.
Yeah, it looks better than our LCS record for now. So hopefully they don't play today, but yeah, hopefully they catch up.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And especially now that we're getting to the matches that we have in front of us, as these standings will be changing as the day goes on. We have here on the second stream, Path to LCS, we have Cloud9 Challengers versus Dignitas Challengers. We also have the wonder that is CLG Challengers versus Evil Geniuses Challengers. And then rounding out the day, Team Liquid First takes on FlyQuest Challengers. And Cubby, we got some bangers ahead of us.
I am really looking forward to especially our first matchup, as both of those teams are at full strength at the top of our standings. And honestly, it's going to be the first real test, in my opinion, for each of these squads in this early season.
Yep, absolutely. And I do want to get your opinions on the matches we have ahead of us. Choose. Do you have any that are sticking out to you? I know your boys aren't playing today, but do you have anything sticking out to you?
The first game for sure. I've heard a lot of good things about Eminus, and I've worked with Lost in the past, so it would be really cool to see how these two perform against a pretty formidable team roster.
Cool. Well, you guys got all the focus on the first matchups. I'm going to go ahead and focus on that last matchup. FlyQuest Challengers versus TL First. I know TL First are coming off some rough and tumble performances last weekend. I know they'll be wanting to kick it up a notch, and FlyQuest themselves with a lot of those holdovers. Really interested to see how that kind of works out itself. But those will be all the matches on the day. Now we got to get to our first matchup, the one you guys were hyping up so much, and it is because of the rosters that are coming into this one. And first up and foremost, Cloud9 Challengers. You've got Fake God in the top lane, Tomio in the jungle, Jimenez in the mid lane, Lost and Zazel, the veteran bot lane, rounding it out here, Choose.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, these guys are intimidating. Particularly, I would say the veteran bot lane. I think Zazel was probably the first person I noticed to pick up the Heimerdinger support, so this guy is for sure on the lab. And then, like, their top side is just solid, in my opinion, particularly.
And Cubby, any thoughts? I know we're putting a lot of stock in him, and as I like to see Tomio under the new colors here, also getting to hear from him a little bit, seems more comfortable in this space.
Yeah, he had a really nice week 1, but I have to kind of match what Choose is saying about, especially Lost and Zazel. The last time that we saw Lost in semi-pro, it was back when he had that stint with TSM Academy. It was him and Shreets. They were the best bot lane that we had at this level. And I think that Lost and Zazel really have the potential to be that bot lane again. And going up against Tomo and Diamond, who have been playing together now for 3 years, it's going to be a really exciting matchup to look towards the bot lane.
I love the holdover of Tomo and Diamond coming over from FlyQuest, but as well as the new additions and Hoon in the top side, I guess, coming into the full role of challengers. But XU back, you got Insanity. How do we not have a picture of XU on there? We gotta get XU out here. Insanity in the mid lane, obviously. Gonna have a tall test today. Feels like Cubby going against Jimenez.
I mean, this is a midnight matchup that I'm really excited about. Insanity was the best performing mid laner until the finals of Proving Grounds when Harry just went nuts on Ahri. But Insanity being back in NACL, I'm really excited. I think his form has been damn good so far this split, and we're in for a treat because same with Jimenez. So mid lane matchup, Choose, you're the perfect person to join us for today, especially with this matchup. Should be a good one.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've seen both of these guys a fair bit. I'm keen to see which one of them comes up big today.
That's going to be interesting. We do get to see a little bit of the clips here, and this is from Jimenez, as well as, he stacked up some kills this last weekend, Cody.
Yeah, so Jimenez in his 4 games got 9 solo kills, which is pretty disgusting. Coming from him making his debut here in NACL, he was definitely someone that was pitched as a very talented mechanical player. His highs being very, very high, and people that have worked with him, when he is at his best, he's someone that can carry games. And we really saw that early on in NACL.
I think we absolutely did. It's a strong showing to start the season, but I think especially we've seen kind of the experience, I guess, on Jimenez's side that I'm interested to see how it continues to grow within the squad here.
Did you say 9 solo kills?
Yeah, he had 9 solo kills this past week.
It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, good luck to Insanity.
He had 6
numbers. 6? Oh my God, that's a lot of solo kills happening down.
Welcome to semi-pro, man. We threw down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm hyped. Like those are some pretty impressive numbers. I was not aware of this.
Yeah, I think it's pretty darn impressive. But that's the thing. I'm very interested because Insanity's across the table, and we know Insanity is a little bit insane in the mid lane. But if you do want to get your say in who you think's going to win here, make sure you spam in the chat C9 Challengers, C9C, and DIGC there to have a little bit of fun and get your says who you think's going to win. Choose. I want to get your last thoughts here before we go into game number 1. What do you want to see from both these rosters?
I want to just see a level of aggression. None of this like slow scaling. I think the draft is pretty obvious these days, but yeah, I want to see them come fast out the gate.
All right, well, let's get to it. We're going to bid adieu to our wonderful guest Choose, and we're going to get into draft number 1 between Dignitas Challengers and Cloud9 Challengers. We have Dignitas on the blue side, Cloud9 on the red side, with some bans, I'm sure, coming across, like the tried and true meta that we've seen these days. I wonder if we actually get the
I'll beat it out of you.
But this is actually not a typical first ban, at least. A Vi coming through for Dignitas.
Well, now I'm curious to see if C9 does want to take Zeri off the board. I think a lot of the bans that we're seeing right now, some of the set up your first pick, and our eyes really go on the marksman pool, but also Rise Malachi, champs that are first picked by a lot of teams, especially Dignitas, as Insanity does have 2 games of Rise, and would you look at that? No Rise for him.
Who would have thunk? The scaling mid lane picks. Is that where we get the Insanity Cassiopeia, the Menace Cassiopeia? We do get the Maokai band away, which has just been destroying competitive play. It gives so many avenues for vision, for control around the map, and I feel like especially at the NAC level, it's important to have that on the map early on. The Ash band, though, towards Dignitas, trying to take away some of those finicky possibilities between Tomo and Diamond.
So Ash is interesting to me because when I see a Vi ban and a Maokai ban, that really tells me we want to take away some of the point-and-click CC so we can play Zeri Lucian, right? I really think that Dignitas, Tomo has really excelled on Zeri ever since she was released as a champion. Varus now being taken off the board again. Marksman pool keeps on getting narrowed. Caitlyn, Lucian, or Zeri, which one do Dignitas want? It's just going to be up to them. Or they can grab the Nami if they do want to play that Lucian Nami, of course. Drop into Lucian. We have seen a couple attempts to take away Lucian. We actually saw a Lucian Sona being played by TLF. Well, guess what? That was against Dignitas, who played Brand Nami bot and destroyed the game with it. So we'll see if C9 decides to deny Lucian, but I'm not expecting that. It should just be the Zeri handshake.
Yeah, I think so. The Wukong, though, very nice to see for Tomio. I love the unique pathings you can have with the Wukong, but as well as the late game impact with big engages against squishier targets like will be the Lucian Nami. I'm very excited to see Tomio pilot that one, especially early on against XU, who I feel like both of them will have a lot of say in their early pathings. Tomio maybe goes into that farming style a little bit more so, but I'm interested if XU wants to get off the ground running.
Right now we're seeing all the junglers path bot. It's all about the 3v3 bot, what can happen. If that breaks, I think it's curious, but I will see the rest of the draft now, as we do have our bot lane shaping up. Dignitas do have a choice here. Do they want to pick up Cassante, something they have done on this pick in the past? Or do they want to match jungle, maybe take a Sejuani for themselves?
I was interested at the Caitlyn ban there for Cloud9 Challengers. I know at least in the LPL, in terms of scrims and stuff, we've been seeing the support Caitlyn's, but they had already gotten the Nami. But the Elise gets to come through. And we were talking about creepy crawlies on the range, and I'm here to continue to see Elise because I feel like it fits XU's style a lot.
I've got to say, this really does index Dignitas towards what Shoes was talking about. A lot of that early aggression. I like what Shoes is talking about there, too, because this is NACL. We play best of twos. I would much rather have teams trying to go for comps where you are forced to make plays to win, rather than going for comps where you're waiting for the enemy team to make mistakes to win. I think that the team that does, the first, throughout a season is more likely to be successful at the end of the season than the latter. So, at the moment, Dignitas do have a lot of those champs where you are forced to make things happen early. That one item spike is going to be huge for the bot lane of Dignitas. The early game is going to be huge for Elise. We've seen a lot of Elises just rush Sork Shoes and then just go from there. C9, they will have their windows to be aggressive, but we'll see if they can find those. This is an early game advantage. Dignitas, and Dignitas banning out some of the bridges that might be able to help, and also that LeBlanc that is so deadly from a menace.
I think the LeBlanc is a rightful ban there against.
He's earned that one.
Yeah, that definitely has. I don't want to be on his highlight reel today, Insanity. But we'll see as the Gnar also gets banned. So definitely putting a lot of priorities on the Hoon champion pool up there and trying to kind of whittle down what they'll be dealing with for Fake God. And, in all actuality, as we get into the second phase here, looking at what this final ban could be, I would expect more of that solo lane focus here. But would be interested to see what it's going to be.
So I'm curious, there was a choice there. That Gnar Jace ban, those are two picks that do fare pretty well in the Renekton. But also Fiora. Now, Cassante is on the board. Fiora is a lane that I think that you can play into Cassante. And I'm curious, as Fake God, as a player, he has been someone that oftentimes is blinding his champion, playing weak side, playing with low resources. I think this is something that Fake God has always really excelled in. And we see that again here, as it will be that Cassante on 4. I think no complaints blinding Cassante. I expect all of our top laners to be able to do that right now. But it will give a Menace counter pick. And we'll see if
something
Hoon
about the champion there.
He's a little bit strong. We'll see if Hoon wants to answer with the Fiora or Jax.
I would love to see the Hoon Fiora. I've just been having a lot of fun seeing the Fioras into the Cassantes, and it will be so. There's so many little micro outplays that you can have with the Fiora against Cassante because he has so many of those dashes and stuns. But it'll be interesting here to see what Dignitas rounded out with. I would expect a heavy carry performance or something maybe a little bit more scaling potentially in Insanity in the mid.
And for Dignitas, if they end up going with Fiora plus Akali, that's a really big emphasis on the side lane, finding those skirmishes. So Yeah, I see them kind of thinking about that. It's going to be the Azir. See if now Amenez answers with that Akali, which is a very common counter to the Azir, and something that can win both side lanes. The Fiora-Akali matchup, more of a skill matchup, but we'll see what C9C wants to go with.
And I'm wondering, thought process here for Dignitas, because it does feel like they were kind of waiting on that last pick here, and it will be the Akali locked in for a minute. So in this situation, at least, when you're coming off of this draft with Insanity having gotten the Azir into the Akali, how do you kind of dissect this draft for Dignitas and how they came away from it?
It's early game, all about early game. We have the Azir now able to get that mid push, even if Akali has kill pressure. That doesn't take place until level 6. So early game, those first 6 levels for Dignitas going to be so important to see what Axu can get done on this Elise. Something that we really do praise Axu quite a bit for, his ability to go for plays early. He has the potential to do that in this jungle matchup. Wukong does not fare well into Elise, so really want to see if he can take advantage of that and get his team an early lead, as Dignitas will need a gold lead going into the later stages of the game to compete with C9 in the 5v5.
And on the other side for C9, right, I got to hear from Lost a little bit going into this one. Short words, but he just said Cloud9 Challengers, they just want to pull up and try to get as much as they can in these games, as much advantages in the mid game as well, to try and hold over and close out in the late game. They feel very confident in Zeyzal's shot calling and the pathing that they can take in Amenez's early performances in lane, that it can boost them up to get through any of these crazy early games that Dignitas is trying to play.
And C9 has been destroying teams in the early game, but they haven't faced a team with the individual level or prowess yet of Dignitas Challengers. So I think this is the first real test for both of our teams here. Curious to see how they respond.
And we get into it. Our first game of the day for week number 2, North American Challengers League. We've got Dignitas Challengers versus Cloud9 Challengers. Cloud9 trying to keep that undefeated streak here in the best of 2s. We'll see earlier on. Again, big focuses for this one are around mid lane. The matchup between Amenez and Insanity, huge in its own right, but especially when you look at the mechanical level of both these players. Insanity coming off an insane Proving Grounds performance at the end of last year, but as well as pretty strong performances to start this year. And Amenez just coming out and dropping a giant rock in the water and making waves.
Very, very excited for this mid lane matchup. Honestly, so many matchups that we have across the map. It's Fake God against his old org as well. Not to mention, Diamond also has history being the support for C9's secondary team, much like Zeyzal. That's how they both got their starts. So just across the board, players that we have had playing at a very high level in the past and currently, and excited to see them go toe-to-toe.
Also, just the amount of brain power that's coming out of the bot lane right now, like, honestly, going to be insane. As we see them go toe-to-toe earlier on, going to strike the level 1 trades, as is tradition, it feels like. But looking at the pathing here a little bit more, Tubby, we do see that it was a quick little change up, I guess, in direction for both sides, as it will be, pathing towards this top side of the map for Ektu, potentially, unless he wants to refocus bot lane after that level 3. And we have Tomio on his way down.
So Exu, he's going for the 3-camp clear where you end on Krugs. This means that you have red buff. You finish on the bot side of the map. You were looking to make a play bot. I'm expecting him to try and affect this Zeri Lulu lane. As you can see, they have push early. Zeri is so good at killing the wave. And Lulu very strong in the Nami. So the push in the early levels, we'll see if Exu can break that. And you can see Tomio, he's actually trying to respond. So he's skipping over that blue buff, doing the Grom to try and get bot as fast as possible with a little bit more health. But Axu is Elise, so of course he's faster on the punch.
Indeed, and we'll see if
No
we
dash.
get the angle here. The flash cocoon not going to connect. Nice little flash response from Lost. The heal coming out from Zeyzal as well.
So the wave was coming. Axu was forced to make a play as the Elise, but with Elise, you can flash auto attack. Just apply red buff and go from there. Instead, going straight for the cocoon, yeah, you trade out flash for flash and you trade up, but that's it. And now Tomo, him and Diamond. Okay.
It was close. It was close. Diamond almost dying at the end anyways. But Tomio just trying to come scrape up the scraps. But look at this. Big brain play from X. He's waiting for Tomio walking back into the jungle. This is no good. The spiders are scary and the dark is where they thrive. First blood for Dignitas.
Once Tomio shows Axu knows exactly where he's going next, he lays the trap, and now with no jungler on the map, he is spotted going over this ward, but now Amenez, he's going to be forced to seed some creeps as well.
And C9 need to get out the bug spray or something.
Hits.
The spiders are just hitting. Hixu not going to take the damage from the tower just yet. does have the repel, but Insanity takes the shot. Not going to come away with another kill. A bot lane, Tomo Diamond looking to aggress. Tomo waiting for the dash, flash forward. He dies! It's Lost that picks up the kill. Thumbs up from Zazel, says, gotcha, bro.
Oh, man. Tomo, he went for the execute, but that piercing light, you can flash away from it. Beautiful play from Zazel as he dodges out of the damage, saves his own life. And Tomo, that was some unwarranted aggression. It gets punished. C9C are in good shape again.
Menez using a little bit of pressure in the mid lane here with the Shroud, putting some extra little touches onto Insanity as Tomio hovers nearby. But we'll see Tomio actually go for a little bit of aggression as we get into a replay of that bot side play.
So Tomio, he's just trying to make sure that his bot lane can get the wave in. He hits it, but I mean, you can see XU. He cuts him off immediately. There's nowhere else for Tomio to go. He's not going to go wrap around the tower because that Gromp's already down. He wants his blue buff. So him showing the wave there, a little bit of a mistake, and actually cashing in on that early power of Elise rather well.
God, I love it. I love when they play to the thematics of the champion. It's so good. XU just the big brain, though. We were talking about kind of that mentality here, and then look at this bot lane. Tobo feeling pretty full here and wanting to go in for this kill as the Ignite goes down.
It looks like Tomo canceled a double up earlier on Lost, was trying to get it to Zazel, but then you can see how Zazel flashed away from that piercing light. That is a quick window that you have to react to, but Zazel did it beautifully. And I mean, Zazel, whenever we've seen this guy compete, it's always been at a high level. And it's really good to see Zazel back in comp play, playing at that high level again early in this season.
Yeah, after seeing him be a little bit of the backstage, behind the scenes factor for Cloud9 a lot and being a coach, it was interesting to hear from some of the team, especially Tomio, when we got to talk to him in the interview, hearing Zazel sometimes whips out that coach voice, and sometimes it's warranted, it's worth it. And having that difference of opinion and difference of communication, I think is really interesting for the Cloud9 roster.
I mean, as you mentioned, right, Zazel, back when he was on that 2018 C9 that made it all the way to World Semifinals, all the comms from those videos, I mean, it was like 70, 80% Zazel. And it's interesting because someone else that's very much like that was Diamond, right? Who also came through C9. Diamond has always made up a big chunk of his team's comms. I know it's something that he's really enjoyed working with Insanity so far this year because he can kind of bounce ideas off Insanity. So that Insanity feels like he's playing with Palafox again, right? Because they can just always kind of make it a back and forth. But it is funny, the impact that these supports have, not only their individual play, but even more so their leadership on the Rift too. Yeah,
and speaking of leadership, no slouch across the Rift. Right, and I think it's been an interesting transplant for Tomo and Diamond, who Diamond himself, very vocal. When we're hearing him talk and with the FlyQuest members from last year, right, he is like the booming voice above everybody, right? The check-ins always come from Diamond. I think that's also an interesting point for Dignitas.
Do you want to revisit what's going on in the map right now, as First Dragon was taken by XU off a bot lane reset, so well done here from the jungler of Dignitas, as XU, really, when you are on Elise, it's not about you, right? It's about rushing the Sork shoes and trying to impact as many lanes as you can. So we'll have to see what XU can do from here. As currently in the mid lane, I gotta say, MNS had an Elise come to his lane, chunk him out. He still was able to stay under turret. He's actually up in CS right now as Akali versus Azir. That's rather impressive.
He's got the boot start early, so he's got good footwear. He does have Elise coming back around, so maybe those boots will help stomp out the spider a little bit. Will be seen coming in here, though, and Menez will back off. Looks like Tomio's just fine. Farming away here as XU's trying to get that proactivity we labeled out for them in the draft that they need. Maybe ends up connecting a little bit more than they wanted. And Menez still pretty, 2 levels, sitting pretty above XU here. XU just spending a lot of time towards this mid lane. We'll look bot lane, though. It's Lost and Zazel. Going for a little bit of a trade, but it's all quiet on the home front here.
XU's spotted on the control ward of his own. Semenez knows that he has it now. Yes.
Love it. Jimenez just going right in, right when he sees XU walk away. We do have the calling in bot lane. Both junglers hovering this way. Oh, level 6 for Tomio, not level 6 for XU. A little bit of a trouble. XU, I think, realizes that and goes straight to the ward. Nice play from XU.
Very clever from XU, utilizing some of the finesse of Elise, able to repel his way out of that situation, as XU still a few camps away from 6, and that is important, as Tomio did finish his clear bot side. He has camps available on the top side, but we are past the 8-minute mark, so Rift Herald is on the table.
Yeah.
And you can see on Menez, because he has mid push, actually able to heal up on the plant. He's going to get a base out of Insanity. He's up a level at this point. If MNS can like get this wave in, Tomio's helping him out. This could be a herald start for C9. As you can see, Zeyzal sprinting towards the objective.
I think something that's always been a theme for Tomio is if you let him farm, he will just do that. And he will just control that side of the map. We get the Rift Herald here started up, but it looks like mid lane is the focus for Dig. Nice bubble from Diamond. They get a little bit of damage on MNS, but he's in the Shroud, and XU does not want to continue that fight.
It's just some of the little things with MNS. Like him stepping up there and just getting a chunk out of XU. I mean, that takes away any opportunity for a Rift Herald play. Now XU, he's forced to look towards the bot side of the map. And he's not fast enough to cut Lost off. So Lost actually going to find them both. And he's going to make it back to that turret while he doesn't lose any gold or XP from the creep. So MNS, again, in this mid lane, it's a small play, but that just had a huge impact on the map. The fact that it enabled Lost to go straight bot, not miss anything as Zeri, and actually was only able to get a blue buff out of this. That's well worth it for the side of C9.
And look at the confidence that Jimenez is playing with in mid lane, right? He has less than half health there, Insanity full, and he still is able to push him off the wave for the entrance part of that little engagement. And I think now might be in a little bit more worse for wear as he's trying to get the outplay against the nice flash. So quick moves gets him out, but maybe wanting that engagement back.
Yeah, well done there by Insanity. That is at least a summoner spell, and there is no TP on MNS, so we can get this wave in. Right in time as well for a Dragon reset. Might be able to get a couple more items for himself. As Dragon is on the table, and you got to imagine with Dignitas' comp, as we mentioned earlier, big focus on skirmishing when you have Fiora plus Elise, trying to find some picks. I think the Dragon stacking is going to be very, very important for them. As if you let Zeri get out of control, and then we've seen what K'Sante can do in the later stages of the game. In the team fight, I think it's going to be pretty hard for Dignitas to deal with that, as at the moment, Hoon.
All out, popped by Fate God. You did have the Grand Challenge as well from Hoon, but both willing to walk away from that fight, not taking life. Tomio is looking to set up something in bot lane. There's the tidal wave out. Onto Lost. It's Tomio too. Not going to find too much more after that one.
Calming's not available for Tomo, but XQ's wrapping around. Tomio sniffs it out, and MNS does too. Love this hover here from MNS. He drops the control where the spot of Insanity is coming, and he's trying to prevent it. But Dignitas' Dragon spawns. They did crash this wave. They're looking to really harass bot lane, trying to open up a window for them to take this uncontested.
Yeah, continue stacking up these Drakes. Biggest problem, though, is the pressure from the mid lane. I think it looks like Dignitas they easily claim this second Dragon for themselves. Tomio fine with just letting that one go. Does have the Rift Herald, though, and need to figure out where he wants to put these resources next. So I would expect Jimenez going to be the prime recipient of that one, Cubby.
Dragon taken here for Axu as plates fallen shortly. I will say Dignitas has done a decent job of getting a gold lead and 2 dragons, but I don't think it's enough to deal with the team fight that C9 is going to be throwing out right now. And I am really worried once Jimenez wraps up this first item, what the situation is going to be here for the side of Dig.
Hey, I was right. Let's go. Oh, Insanity. A nice little play. It's 3-person shove because of the clone, so it makes you feel a little bit better about it. The charge does go off, and C9 get the gold from it, so they came and got what they wanted.
Watch XU. Jimenez is fishing here. He knows that there's no ult, but now it's spotted. And
Jimenez has been playing so confident on the razor's edge, and it's working. And I honestly, to be able to dissuade another gank from XU, going to be grinding his gears a little bit at this point, Cubby.
It is really tough for Elise to play into Akali. I think XU is mostly here just to dissuade pressure and make sure that Insanity's safe, because all your abilities are targeted, so when Akali's in the Shroud, it's tough, and she can backflip out of your cocoon. Not the best for Elise, but this is mid-prio into bot prio, so they did force MNS to base. You can see MNS right now actually waiting in base in case he has to go towards that bot lane turret, understanding that a dive could come here from Dignitas as XU continues to posture to set it up.
Like, he'll just go ahead and take that long walk towards mid lane. Keep that TP just in case things unfold a little bit more. But we still have time till the next objective, big moments on the map. But that doesn't mean that proactivity needs to stop for XU and for Dignitas as a whole. So in these next couple minutes, right, when you're still waiting for another big objective to be force Cloud9 Challengers' attention, what are you looking for Dignitas to kind of set themselves up with?
I think they have to break bot.
Oh my god, Tomio's going in for the flash. The Ultra Shock Laser doesn't
Hold
connect.
on.
The Tidal Wave a little bit wide there. Tomo taking a lot of damage though, but he might get the damage on the Lost instead. No, it's not enough. The Wild Growth
Watch
saves the
Sazel.
day. Might have Diamond going back in. Insanity is here. He has the Shurima Shuffle. Menez is
Menez
right
is
behind
too.
him. But he knows it's a little bit scary. Diamond getting low. Bubble
Oh, they chained
connects.
it.
Tomio goes down. And Menez dodges out of the Shurima Shuffle there and maybe gets a kill,
Oh.
but doesn't. Has the perfect execution to get out of there. And Dignitas come away with a kill after a very aggressive Cloud9 Challengers.
Love how Axu and Diamond able to chain the cocoon into the bubble on Tomio as Wukong falls, and at least Dignitas able to get out of that situation. We get a quick second look thanks to our production team behind the scenes. As again, Tomio, he's got red buff, he's got a level, the cocoon goes wide. He knows that he can at least get something here from Axu, but the speed up from the Nami is enough to get Axu away from the second knockup. And then Tomo, really nice turn on the Lost as Diamond connected both bubbles in this fight. I think that was the clutch reason why Dignitas were able to walk away with a kill.
You can see, I feel like, some of that shot calling coming through from Diamond there. He's the one playing up and trying to play pretty aggressively and get them to go back into the fight. Lands this crucial bubble to seal Tomio's fate. Oh, God, that move is so clean, though. Insanity got juked so hard right there. That was pretty good by Jimenez. So, as we get back into it here, yeah, you know, the mechanics are definitely there. We saw that on all the solo kills last time around. But XU continues to try to press forward as best he can here. We have the Dragon coming up at a minute 30. Dragon Soul point for Dignitas would be an important priority for them. You see that C9 are already putting vision down and getting set up around this objective.
So usually I don't like to talk about items that much, but I think it's really important. Diamond does not have that Imperial Mandate. Really curious if we see Diamond base to try and pick it up before this next Dragon, because this is the big power spike for the Lucian Nami. The mid game, when you have that empowered culling, it is so tough to play against. It just pretty much nets you mid-prio whenever you want it. As Tomo's actually level 10 and lost level 8. That's a really good sign here for Dignitas. They are up a little bit, but I want to see if they can set up this Dragon. I think the key here for C9 is going to be what kind of angle and which target can Jimenez find on the Akali, because Akali is the power point that's trying to, like, it's Wukong and Akali trying to bridge this mid game to get Zeri to the later stages where she can't take over.
Yeah, exactly. And love to see the Rift Herald picked up by Dignitas, trying to maintain some control around that top side of the map as well. So they will have the Rift Herald on XQ to utilize, maybe even as a distraction coming into this Dragon, but you see some of that priority will be used in this mid lane to get this Rift Herald charge in and take the first tower. Well,
Drop
hopefully.
As you know what, you're just making sure that it gets a little bit of a walk in. You know, it's
There
important.
we go.
Get your exercise, get your steps in, even for Shelly.
When Shelly wakes up, you know, you gotta be sure to hold the hand. Make sure, you know, that everything is right. Everything is right, though. We'll see Jimenez catch Insanity on the back timer there.
Right, they're
are
seeding
in
this.
place, and Dignitas, as you said, lead the Dragon over.
Oh, I gotta say, it's kind of surprising to me. I know that in the base they get the mandate. I think they can get bot outer off this reset, but again, Dignitas, I mean, I'm looking at Elise, I'm looking at Lucian Nami versus Zeri Lulu. It's kind of hard. The game doesn't get easier as time goes on here.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that we see Dignitas next 5-10 minutes. They have to blow this game out of the water. And we'll see if C9 can, you know, play defense, find their spots where they can be aggressive. And I'm curious to see how they respond to this, because I'm pretty sure the spot turret will fall here to Tomo and Diamond off the reset and off the fact they just took Dragon. Yeah,
and I want to check in a little bit more, right? I think we've had the top lane kind of be its own amalgamation of things in top side of right for this far, but Hoon has a little bit of a CS lead. You've got a decent CS lead for Tomio as well. Now Jimenez having a giant CS lead in the mid lane, using that power against XU here with a 3-level advantage, but Jimenez still needing to be a bit careful. At least do damage. She is a spider. And it looks like after that, they will just kind of form back up around this mid lane. Maybe even have Tomio revisit this bot lane as it's turning into a 3v3.
Again, fighting for that gold around this bot outer. Tomio does have that level 10 and the ultimate, so has a way to deal with Cocoon.
As you see, everybody backing off, so none of that forward aggression coming through from Dignitas just yet. Not finding the right moment, at least for themselves. Jimenez regaining control in the mid lane. Still, though, I will say, Dignitas coming away with the tower gives them a lot to work with around this mid lane, Cubby.
That is important as well, because now they can shift that Lucian Nami mid. I think they're trying to take the last outer before they do so, but I think Lucian Nami is at their strongest when they are mid. Because again, your ability to just throw out the culling, get a chunk, and then have mid priority to make plays elsewhere in sides, very important. So Dignitas knocking down the first 2 turrets for themselves. Well played. As you can see, Insanity dropping the Sun Disc, and again, he's just going to keep on hovering this bot lane as Dignitas tries to check the boxes, take all the outers before they really try and open up this map.
But so we're getting to about 19 minutes here, and we were talking about the early advantages needed for Dignitas and the question of, you know, seeding that dragon. But here, I feel like we're getting Cloud9 to Cloud9's bread and butter here with their composition. And in that actuality, does Dignitas just need to kind of force something here? And maybe they do. As Tomo engaged on by Jimenez. Tomio getting a little bit low. Jimenez wanted to go for the flashy play. Goes in, misses the perfect execution. But Insanity, he gets one back. Tomio barely survives, and they get Insanity right back. It is trades and trades of like. We get the repel from XU to try and make it out, but he will not. That'll be a crispy spider. Jimenez picks it up, and Cloud9 stream ahead.
Such a close fight, and Tomio honestly coming up clutch there as he was able to get another cast of the ultimate off before he went down. That enabled for C9 to take down Insanity and take away any chance that Dignitas had to win that fight.
What a play. Insanity thought he had the highlight moment, only got Tomio and then was left out in the dust, and here we get a replay of that one.
I gotta say, I think Insanity, it's an okay attempt on the turn, but C9, they had multiple react flashes. They were able to get out of the big stream of shuffle as Dignitas does a good job of kiting back, kind of absorbing this initial engage from Jimenez. But watch the re-engage from Insanity. His bot lane's so low, and he gets both or 2 flashes out for this play that really takes away any chance they had to turn it around. Tomio dodges out on the Cocoon, able to get a ton more damage into Elise before the Fangs sink on in, and it's a trade, but still C9 come out on top, and that bot outer turret, it's still standing after all this.
Yeah, that's what the crazy thing is. It was literally started around that one. I got to give a special shout out to Diamond with a nice little move of the feet, or I guess the tail, in the middle of that, followed out of the perfect execution. I think that was huge, but all in all, it's just back and forth between these two teams. 2,000 gold lead, but Tomo in trouble here, has time in there with the tidal wave and the culling use, so decent ultimates utilized there to get Tomo out of there. Now Tomio,
there's Mandate.
Rest on that slow there, the Gale Force forward, doesn't have the damage.
And Mandate's up, and again, this is where Lucian Nami is so strong, so again, I like the attempt here from C9. They do get some cooldowns out, but it still is Lucian Nami that are able to trade health bars and stay on the map thanks to the sustain from Nami. So Tomio has to head back to the hills, and that is bot control for Dignitas. They will finally get this bot outer to fall, but it's also great control of this bot side river 30 seconds before Dragon spawns.
And that's the control you need to see from Dignitas, especially as we get the time a ticking here. We were talking about scaling options, the bridge that was for Cloud9 to get lost into the late game. He's still sitting at 1-0-2 and working on his second item, but it's starting to show a little bit in these fights. And I think for Dignitas, you still have a lot of strength, right? I think if Insanity lands, it's situationally, right? Insanity lands a big stream of shuffle, that's instantly a big advantage for Dignitas. And we see actually that was stopped for going over the wall there. That was very close. The dragon started.
That's a very valuable chunk, right? That's on the jungler, and C9 doesn't have sustain. But I think you're right about Tomo. All eyes have to be on him. He is a full item up on this Seri. This is his fight to take over.
Okay, Hoon, we get fighting on the island. The solos are going down. Hoon in trouble here, though. I don't think he's going to save.
Oh, no.
And that's Fake God with the all-out shutdown kill onto Hoon.
Bot lane, Fake God does have the empowered TP. He's a little bit low, but that's a great flank. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's a lot of damage for the 5-point strike. Oh, Jimenez gets pushed back by the tidal wave. Tomo's trying to put in the culling damage there. Now, Insanity caught out a little bit. Doesn't have the Emperor's Divide. XU was on the back end, so C9 had to back away now. And a lot of tools utilized, but Fake God finally has arrived.
Hoon does have that empowered TP up in 15 seconds once he's out of the gray screen. C9 going to burst this down before he's up.
All right, we'll see if XU can get in here, get a magical steal. Dignitas on the edge, buying time. Fake God, it doesn't get the knockback in. Insanity is in there. The dragon, it goes over to Tomio. Tomio survives as well. TP on the back end from Hoon. We'll see the engage from XU. He's caught out a little bit, though. Needs to be very careful, and Hoon is not there in time. So the escape comes through, and Cloud9 getting another Infernal Dragon.
That's so huge from C9. Again, they deny the soul point. They get out clean when a TP was burned, and a lot of tools here from Dignitas. Ooh. As they can't go for the Baron either. So C9 again in this mid game. This is where we were looking for Dig to take over this game, make the plays. C9, they're the ones that are coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, delaying the dragon stacking is so monumental for Cloud9. We're going to look at that 1v1 on the top side, though.
And there were 2 dashes that were canceled by Fake God as riposte from Hoon. I mean, that goes wayward, and you can't deal with any of the other, like, the knockups if you don't connect to anything. So, not being disciplined on that W, Fake God takes full advantage and punishes. I know a lot of people are excited to see Zazel back with C9, back playing. I am too, but Fake God, also someone that, you know, played in LCS. His last split was tough, but he really did talk about a lack of motivation that split. He's back to compete. I think he's been playing well this early season.
Indeed he has. Insanity almost getting caught there. Has to use the Emperor's Divide. Gets a lot of damage back on Tomio, though, so it's back and forth. I will say, though, this top lane focus here was definitely a play from Cloud9 trying to collapse on Insanity. Doesn't find anything, but they're fine with this. Just buying this time. Still only 2,000 gold behind. Dignitas now are in the driver's seat of trying to find what comes next here. We have second item completions starting to come up, right? We have the Ravenous Hydra, Divine Sunder for Hoon. We've got the Void Staff there, completed as second item for Insanity. And I think this is where Dignitas feel comfortable. The guys, I guess, go ahead and start the Baron.
And they get a TP out. And again, I kind of like this from Dig. Like, they have sustained from Nami. They can at least fish to try and get C9 to commit. They did get the TP out of Amenez, so...
I see what you did there, Cubby. I'm not going to let that
What
one
did I do? I can't get away with it?
I see them fish, and they have literally Nami on their team. Come on. You can't be subconsciously doing that to me and just say, oh, no, nothing happened.
Hey, man. Nami hasn't gone down yet. She's still swimming. It's not fish that we can devour yet. Hasn't been cooked.
Yeah, for sure. Not yet, at least. Not yet. There's no flame spitter from Rumble on the other side just yet. But it is Amenez in the side lane. Gets Insanity going in. Looking for the solo bowl. He wants to rack up those solo kills. He's got it. He doesn't hit. Oh, blast from Insanity. Gets out the other end, and Amenez backs away. So close, but Insanity escapes with his life.
I actually really thought that Insanity was going to go down as he tried to flash over the Akaliar. The damage still connected, but was able to get away from the auto attack that would have taken him. So Insanity saves his Emperor's Divide. And I think that really does put an emphasis on how much this Baron matters. As you can see, Insanity, he just TP'd to the top wave. So Dignitas really are trying to maintain control over these objectives, and I like it, given the fact that you have released Nami.
That was a bit bold from XU. He has to go in the repel, as the rest of his team here as well. Tomo, let loose on the culling right into Fake God.
Oh, okay.
It's like a mountain. He will not be taking a lot of damage from that one, but Dignitas will walk away. You wonder if they try to circle back and get this mid lane under wraps at least.
Again, though, you can kind of see the game plan here for Dignitas. When you have Elise, she's so powerful from Fog if you're able to get the jump with that cocoon. So a lot of their game plan right now, it's about kind of 4-1-ing, or at least having one quadrant be really strong so you can fish for these picks. I think Dignitas is doing a decent job of executing it. It's just they didn't really have the lead to snowball this game that they needed. So C9 have now kind of weathered the storm. We're getting to the point of the game where C9 starts to become very scary. I mean, Lost is an IE away from C9, for me, having a very heavy advantage in this game.
They are that third item spike with that IE goes for it will be the big kicker for Dignitas to figure out how to get out of here, shuffle out at least, and I think that strength is going to come alive.
Yeah. Now the good news is that we're 1 minute away from this dragon. We did just have Tomo base. He doesn't have his Infinity Edge finish, but it will be finished first. So again, I think the next 2 fights are so important for Dignitas, just based around the AD itemization. Because you will have one fight where Lucian is still up on Zeri and very powerful, and then another one where you're going to have the IE advantage. Yeah. After that, that's where things are going to get really hard, I think. Because when you have this empowered Zeri able to run around to fight, we've seen what these Zeris can do. Tomo would know better than anyone else that we have in Challengers. So I think it's just very important Dignitas do win this fight, and props to them. They've done a really good job of getting control. That's a big culling.
Menez gets about half his health taken out. You still got to deal for Cloud9. You got to deal with Hoon in the side lane. He is still a Fiora by himself with, circling like 80 CS at lead and getting another tower. So I think this is something Cloud9 are having a bit of struggle figuring out how to deal with.
That is the backdoor win con here for Dignitas. But again, the 5v5 for C9, it just gets better and better throughout the game as Fake God, he was grouped with the team, now is forced to answer Fiora. They don't want to sack that inhibitor turret. Can't blame them. It's a game of chicken right now. As C9, they've said, that dragon is yours. We realize the IE difference, or the AD itemization difference. We do not want to fight you. We do not want to play into your power spike. So they're trying to see if Dignitas walks into them at Baron. C9, we're not able to make them do that. Props to each team for staying very disciplined here. Yeah, you can see them checking it. Yeah. Game of chicken, man. It's been powerful, but Dignitas, they will get that soul point, and C9 get nothing for it. So well played from each side, honestly.
Yeah, Infernal Soul is going to be a big power point for, I feel like, Dignitas as a whole, maybe even Cloud9, just to make sure that Dignitas don't get it. But I do wonder, you know, with this focus on the top side, they'll more than likely take down this outer tower, and after that, you know, the resets have come out for Cloud9, and the next steps feel like trying to make sure that they have vision around this top side of the map and find a way, again, to deal with this side lane.
I just think that, you know, in this match... Oh, heads up. Zazel's got no flash. You can see XU get 2 targets, just trying to fish for the Lulu. I do think that that series of events does show a lot of the experience that each of these teams has. I mean, that's something that you see a lot of Challengers teams not be able to connect with. But given, you know, some of the accomplishments of the individual members and the overall experience that is on each squad, it is good to see early season some of our Challengers teams making some pretty disciplined decisions. Again, I think that, like, I look at that AD itemization, I have a Zeri, I'm like, guys, let's just wait. Like, once we get IE on Zeri, things get so much better for us. And you can see Dignitas, they realize that too, so they're really trying to push, and they're going to keep on fishing around this Baron as they have now shifted their power from that bot side river to that top side quadrant of C9 again.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 3 item completions for the 3 carries, right? I think that's super important to index into for Dignitas as they are holding that over Cloud9's head right now.
I gotta say, I'm actually gonna be really curious to talk to Choose about this Seraph's Azir. I haven't seen this before.
Scaling, baby.
Yeah, it's a lot of scaling here. As I'm really interested.
That's what it used to be, right? I mean, I think there was like a big change up for Azir where we were seeing a lot more early focus for him.
Oh, I remember season 5.
He originally was like the scaling mid lane mage, right?
I still got that clip of me solo killing Pill Belter on season 5 Azir. That's how OP Azir was back then, you know?
Yeah. Gotta love that throwback. But it is.
I flex when I can, you know? It's subtle, but it's rare.
So in this one, when we've set up these mid laners so much now, I do want to set some hard facts for both of them going forward into this one, because I think both of them will have very integral parts for this one. We set them up in the draft, but now is execution moment for both of them. We've seen Jimenez earlier last week, right, having incredible execution moments. Even in this game, has had some very high mechanical moments, but I want to set the stage for both these guys going forward.
Jimenez, he's got to wait out some of the bigger cooldowns at Dignitas to find his moment. He's going to be looking for Emperor's Divide and the Tidal Wave. Once those are out, those are the big CC tools that you can use to stop Akali. It's really hard, though, to land a cocoon or a bubble on Akali, so it's going to be free reign for Jimenez after that. So I'm waiting for him to kind of wait his spot, whereas Insanity, his job's simple. He's just going to Shurima Shuffle to protect the Lucian. Or Emperor's Divide, I should say. I'm not expecting many Shurima Shuffles out of him. His job is to protect his marksman.
All right, well, we got the Sage Step. Diamond, he can't get over the wall. He has to flash. Lost following him over. Lost to his doom. No, he gets out. Look at the plays, man. He said he wanted to pull up, and that's exactly what he just did.
Oh, my God. I thought he was going down, but instead, he just skated all over Dignitas as Diamond falls, and now Insanity. He's okay with the Seraphs here.
Yeah, it's doing a decent amount. Insanity, though, Jimenez hasn't used his combo just yet, and he's going in. Nice Emperor's Divide. Zanyas from Jimenez. He dodges. Oh, nicely executed from XU, though, to make sure that Insanity doesn't go down.
That cocoon, what a connected pixel perfect. He was forced to flash away from it. Just not enough gas in the tank as... Oh, we were starting to get some tension here on the Rift. We got a couple flip plays coming out from our members that have been so disciplined as it comes up. Heads for Lost and then tails for Jimenez. I'm sorry, I'm biased towards heads, I guess.
Apparently. Now we know the bias of the coins, Cubby. Thanks.
Yeah, caster bias, you know, it's out there. But we do have to return to the game state still, Mazal, because we are 1 minute away from this potential Infernal Soul for Dignitas. And that AD itemization that we spent a lot of time talking about is IEs for each of them. So I think a lot is going to be focused on the Lost, and Lost did lose his flash for that play. That's a big cooldown that's now down.
See the replay here, though, is Lost's incredible play to go across, take Diamond out at the end, as Diamond was taking out the ward, interestingly enough. I want to say, it just shows how much Lost can do in such a minute time. Like, holy cow, man.
Yeah, I don't think fishing for bubbles on Zeri's worth, but we return Insanity.
Is calling back. And I believe I have TFT music in my ears. I don't know if you do too, but that's pretty good. I see that we got Tomio getting pretty heavily knocked down here. As Fake God gets poked out. Insanity's really starting to do some work. And I wonder, I guess for C9, how they are trying to push forward. Because Jimenez already caught out. Now Tomio has to go back in to try to save the day. He gets bubbled, though. The jungler for Cloud9 Challengers is down. And that means soul in the eyes of Dignitas.
Oh, that's a little bit of an inexperience showing from Tomio as Jimenez. He had TP. He could have gotten out and came back to the fight. But instead, Tomio throws himself to try and save his mid laner now. Polymorph. Uh-oh.
That's a bit of a trouble there. As,
trade.
The dragon goes over to Dignitas, but Jimenez, he's looking for more, and he gets the kills. The triple kill for the Cloud9 Challengers mid laner, but they got to go defend the base as Hoon has broken through the top inhib.
Infernal Soul is lost, and an inhibitor is lost, but C9, they're the ones that are still on the hunt. As it was a beautiful team fight from Jimenez, man. This Akali, rather nasty coming through.
It is a pretty good response, it feels like, for Cloud9 in terms of, yes, losing the Dragon Soul, but getting even more kills for Jimenez, who finds himself at 4-1, working on that 4th item now as well. I'm sure we'll have sticks made into hats for both sides very soon. Oh my god! That Infernal Soul, my goodness. Luckily, Zazel's right there to help save the day, but that was 1 Q!
Level 18 Fiora can do that, you know? It's not too bad. But, man, okay, so I gotta say, this game gets a little bit harder for C9, given the Infernal Soul. That makes that Lucian Nami pack even more of a punch, and then there's a death cap that's going to be finished shortly here for Insanity. I still think the game plan for C9, like, Jimenez got caught first. We could see what Jimenez could do on the back half of a fight. He just has to pick his spot. He really has to make sure that, you know, he's waiting out some of those big cooldowns that I highlighted earlier and isn't getting picked first, because he can't take over the fight in the back half. The C9, they realize how strong they are right now. They have Baron set up, and Jimenez is in a great spot.
Yeah, they're baiting him out. Diamond gets half his health taken out. Jimenez gets 1 kill, maybe looking for more. The main fight, though, it's not going the way of Dignitas. Jimenez has caught out Diamond, and the rest of Dignitas are falling to pieces. Hoon is a little alive, maybe a little bit longer. Not for long, though. Trying to buy some time here into 4v1. Still with the Hope Breaker, though, and I think C9 realized they don't really want to deal with this guy right now. And he's just taking on the world. He's 1 by 1, trying to kite them away, use these vitals to get these spots down. And I think Cloud9 just need to leave this one. Jimenez is like, no, guys. No, I want it.
We're good.
All right, he's getting a little bit lower there. Has the rest of his teammates there. Grand Challenge not available just yet, as Hoon still in a 1v4 for the last minute and a half. Is about to take down one, maybe. He gets CC'd, he gets stunned up. He cannot get him in as just yet. But can he one more attack? He gets him! He is unstoppable! Hoon in a 1v4 will take down the masses and destroy Cloud9!
Oh my god, Dom, this is what you're missing out on, baby. It's still Hoonin time here at NACL, and he's been hooning all over him as that opens up the base for Dig. Insanity has the empowered TP. He's just connected, and he might have just saved the game. That was a huge win for C9. What happened?
No way! He was literally in a 1v4 for 2 minutes, and he ends up with 2 kills off of it. And they say, screw your scaling. We're taking your base. Can they, though? As one big all-out from Hoon. Insanity comes in with the Inverse Divide.
Hold on,
Insanity. There. Insanity's taking out the tower. That's it. Dignitas, they've wiped them clean, and they'll take game number 1.
What a game and what a moment from Hoon as the 1v4. Like, what was going on? They could have turned. They could have taken Baron. But instead, we go for Hoon. That Fiora is so damn slippery. Wasn't able to connect with anything. The Akali wasn't able to take him down. Holy smokes. Dignitas back and forth game. But it feels like from the brink of defeat, they snatched victory.
My God, that was an incredible kickoff day. It got my blood pumping. I hope it did yours too. We're going to sit into a little break. Rest up, relax. We'll be right back with Choose. A little bit of a breakdown of that game.